Swadee ka. Thank you for joining us on Newsline. We are broadcasting live on NBT, Radio Thailand, FM 88, and on NBT World. It's Friday, November the 6th, and you're with me, Tra Chirakasan. And welcome to today's segment of Thailand Moves Forward. In our first story, according to the Interior Minister, a total of 248,255 people have already registered for the Bike for Dad activity, which will be held on Friday, December the 11th. On the fourth day of the registration for the Bike for Dad event, Thais and foreigners nationwide continue to express their wishes to participate. After chairing a video conference with related agencies, Interior Minister General Anupong Pauchinda was informed that the total number of registered cyclists was standing yesterday at 248,255. The minister also told provincial governors as well as those responsible to be prepared for the activity as well as to ensure safety for all participants. The event, which will take place on Friday, December 11th of this year, is held to celebrate His Majesty the King's 88th birthday anniversary. And to find out more about the upcoming activity, we are joined now by Mr. Sek Wanameti, the Director General of the Department of Information and spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Swadee ka.
Swadee ka.
Can you tell us a bit more about the Bike for Dad 2015 event?
Yes, the Bike for Dad for 2015 is a cycling event to celebrate the 88th birthday anniversary of His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej on the 5th of December. As you may recall, we had a grand event on the Bike for Mom, and so this is the now Bike for Dad 2015, and it will be joined not only by the people in Thailand, but also be joined by Thais living abroad in over 53 countries around the world. Foreigners are also very welcome to join in this activity, both in Thailand and in our overseas locations organized by our embassy and consulate generals abroad. Of course, the event is initiated by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and to pay tribute to His Majesty the King, as well as to promote good health and well-being of all participants. So the event would comprise three major activities. The first activity is the cycling event on December 11th, which will take place in all 77 provinces of Thailand and in 66 locations abroad. 66 locations, meaning that they are organized by, in fact, our embassies and consulates in 78 offices, covering 52 countries. For instance, like in People's Republic of China, the event, we have various consulate generals in the various montons in China, but of course, the event in China will take place in Kunming. So it means that our embassy in Beijing, our consulate in Shanghai, in various montons will gather in Kunming together with the Thai community, and they will participate in the Bike for Dad. There will also be an outdoor performance. The second event on the 11th of December will be the celebration of the Thai culture event, would be an outdoor performance of the Royal Corn in the grounds of the Dusit Palace. And this Royal Corn performance will continue in the evenings of the 12th and the 13th of December. There will also be an exhibition of the works of His Majesty the King displayed throughout the month in the grounds of the Amporn Satan Palace. That's just the overview of the event on the 11th of December, both in Thailand and abroad.
Now, you said just now that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the embassies, and the consulates around the world will be helping to facilitate with the activities taking place abroad. Now, for Thailand, will the foreign ambassadors and diplomats in the country be participating in this event as well?
Oh, yes. I'll divide the answer into two parts. The first part is on your first question about the foreign diplomats living in Thailand. Of course, the Foreign Ministry is organizing for the members of the diplomatic corps to join the cycling event in Bangkok. We have a long list of ambassadors and heads of mission participating, together with military attaches, diplomats, and spouses. So that will be on December 11th. Now, the second part about the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is in coordinating with our embassies and consulates abroad. And of course, this is a great honor for the Foreign Ministry for such an auspicious event. And so, of course, everybody will have to bear in mind the time zone of how do we synchronize the participation of our embassies abroad in the context of the time zone. Now, the starting time in Thailand on the 5th or the 11th of December is at 1500 hours on the 11th of December. So that's the main anchor time. 1500 hours on December 11th, Friday, Bangkok time. And so how do we synchronize with our embassies abroad? Of course, the overseas locations would then be divided into 3 time zones. So the countries where the local times are ahead of Thailand, such as Australia and New Zealand, of course, they would have to, they would start their time, which would synchronize with Bangkok time at 1500 hours. Then there are those local times which are close to Thailand local time, such as our neighboring countries, ASEAN member countries, Asian countries. So they would also start off that bike for that about roughly the same time as in Thailand, local time Thailand. Then the third time zone will be countries where local times are behind Thailand. So we're talking about those in America, for instance, countries in Europe, North America, South America. So they would have to start probably early in the morning, their local time, which would be at about afternoon time, Bangkok time. Or for instance, like in the United States, they would start that early morning on the 11th of December, which would be very late evening, Bangkok time. But the event will always be synchronized in the day of the 11th of December. And so far, there are those participating overseas participants. There are now 9,600 who have registered to join this cycling event abroad. So these are the Thai community and the Friends of Thailand abroad. And so this is what the Thai community and our foreign friends abroad, they would like to express their unity and love for His Majesty the King.
Thank you very much, Kun Sek. We very much look forward to the event. Thank you very much for joining us today. And that was Kun Sek Wanameti, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson. Taking a look now at some other news, Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister General Prawit Wongsuwon has established a working committee in charge of data integration to assist the government in dealing with influential figures in each locality. General Prawit has convened a meeting of the committee responsible for tackling the mafia issue in the country. Members of the committee consist of officials from the National Council for Peace and Order, the Internal Security Operations Command, the Defense Ministry, the Interior Ministry, the National Intelligence Agency, the Royal Thai Police, and the Royal Thai Armed Forces. During the meeting, the Defense Minister assigned the committee to set up a working group to integrate information with other state agencies in a bid to increase the intensity and effectiveness of the committee's operations. General Prawit affirmed that the government's determination to eliminate mafia influences while calling on the public to share related information with state officials in order for the latter to successfully stamp out the issue and ensure the safety of people's lives and properties. This year, Thailand will host an international workshop on the implementation of the UN Guiding Principles on Alternative Development. Its purpose is to effectively address the problem of drug abuse. For more on this, Kun Naak Rotana Suwan has the story.
The problem with illegal drugs has greatly affected individuals, society, and economy, and it is a huge threat to national security and long-term prospect of any nation. Poverty and lack of opportunities are the main causes that people become involved in illicit drug activities, such as narcotic crop cultivation and drug trafficking. So these are the key areas to address. Ms. Rashinikorn Sarasiri, advisor to the Office of Narcotic Control Board or ONCB, explained that in November 2011, Thailand, together with Peru and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, or UNODC, hosted the International Seminar Workshop on Alternative Development, or ICAD-1. The meeting set to draft a set of international guiding principles on alternative development, or AD. Currently, the Thai government emphasizes on the enforcement of drug-related laws, but also makes use of the alternative development method as one of the means to try to control the problem of illegal narcotics.
ICAD-2 is a forum that we would like to make the world community to see how the alternative development, that is the initiative of His Majesty the King, that it can be implemented elsewhere.
Ms. Rashinikorn added that for more than 40 years, Thailand has utilized the means of alternative development to resolve root causes of the drug abuse. The IGPs on AD was originated from His Majesty the King's idea on sustainable development, which focuses on livelihood development without destruction of the environment.
For the Mae Fah Luang Foundation, it was initiated by the Princess Mother. At that time in Doi Tung, that is a very high land, and also the hill tribes on Doi Tung also, they grow opium and they earn a living with opium. That's why the Princess Mother would like to help the people, help the hill tribe people to stop growing opium and then have the alternative way of living.
In the past, there were practices of shifting cultivation in the north of Thailand, which resulted in a large area of deforestation and the cultivation of opium poppy. Opium cultivation brought a lot of income to people who had no alternative to make a living. When the concept of alternative development was introduced in Thailand, there were vocational trainings for local people in order to help them produce and sell their products that help many bring a sufficient income to their families.
The Public Relations Department yesterday organized the 49th Music in the Garden entitled One Decade Under the Benevolence of the Nation's Keo Kalaya. The Music in the Garden event featured Pratlao Amaradit, a famous singer and actress, and a performance by visually impaired people and many artists along with Jirakom Kitiyakon, Chom Chai Arun Chan, Walailak Arun Chan, and singers from the Public Relations Department. Another aim of the event was to return happiness to the people through the beautiful music. The entrance was, of course, free of charge. It was held at the main auditorium at the Public Relations Department headquarters. And that's the end of today's edition of Thailand Moves Forward. Before we take a quick break, let's take a look at the exchange rates and commodity prices.
Thailand is promoting 12 core values for the good of the people. Third core value: being grateful to parents and teachers.
Welcome to ASEAN. a community comprised of 10 countries, each with its unique culture and history, now unifying to bring added prosperity to the region. For centuries, each country remained independent, but now we are coming together to compete in the 21st century globalized world. ASEAN is bringing together more than 600 million citizens and a total land area of 4.4 million square kilometers, and is providing economic opportunities, trade, travel, and new educational possibilities. The combined GDP of all 10 ASEAN countries comes to a total of $2.4 trillion, which means the ASEAN entity ranks amongst the world's major economic powers. The future is here. Welcome to ASEAN, the community of opportunities. The Southeast Asia region is now becoming one.
Welcome back. You're watching Newsline. As the world's population grows, so does the demand for energy. And since Indonesia has a population of over 255 million citizens, the government is considering nuclear generators, which could provide far greater energy output. For more on this, Kun Panot Sisinsap is in Indonesia with the scoop.
For over half a century, nuclear energy has powered cities in many parts of the world. However, the technology is still new in Southeast Asia, where several nuclear power plants projects have been proposed but were never built as there were protests from the public who fear for their safety. Indonesia, however, is the biggest country in the ASEAN region, and it requires a tremendous supply of electricity, even though it uses coal, natural gas, and many types of fuel. The country still needs a more intensive power source and is now considering nuclear for their future power source.
I think people agree that nuclear energy is energy sources that very intensive. It means that in one small amount of material, we could generate high energy. In the world right now, there are about 438 nuclear power plants.
Still, there is no nuclear power plant built there just yet, although there are 3 research reactors as the Batam, Indonesia's National Nuclear Energy Agency, decides whether to construct them or not.
Many people worry about the nuclear power plant. There are some people who don't know about the nuclear power plant. They know that nuclear is always identical with the bomb, or something that is very, very, what you call it, threatening, because of radiation. Batam did a kind of poll to the public last year. And based on that poll, more than about 70% the respondents agree to the nuclear technology used for nuclear generation. Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant accident, the perception of people to the nuclear power plant is very, very bad.
He's referring to the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in Japan, which occurred after the tsunami, the Tohoku earthquake, on 11 March 2011. The damage caused by the tsunami resulted in equipment failures, which resulted in 3 nuclear meltdowns and releases of radioactive materials. It was the largest nuclear disaster since the Chernobyl disaster of 1986. Indonesia is prone to having similar natural disasters like Japan, and both are located along the Ring of Fire, raising even more questions from the people.
Energy needs in Indonesia is very high. Our population is about 250 million. People need energy. So we should consider all of the kind of the energy sources, including nuclear.
Locations like Mount Muria in central Java and Gorontalo in northern Sulawesi have been studied as sites for proposed nuclear power plants. Batam is now waiting for the green light from the government. If it is approved, Indonesia will become the second country after Vietnam to construct a nuclear power plant. For NBT World, I'm Penot Season-Sap in Jakarta, Indonesia.
At least 10 people were killed when a dam holding back mining waste had burst, flooding parts of the Brazilian city of Mariana in a thick sludge of mud and rock. The Samarco Mining Company, a joint venture of Brazil's Vale and Australian mining company BHP, said a tailings dam from its Germano unit broke, sending the waste material spilling into a valley. The flood destroyed dozens of homes in the Bento Rodrigues community of Mariana in the state of Minas Gerais. Activities at the Germano site have been suspended. Local media have reported between 10 and 15 deaths, with dozens more missing. The mine primarily produces iron ore pellets and converts low-grade minerals to high-end products, which are then exported for the steel industry worldwide. The number of Cubans who have traveled to Mexico as a bridge to reach the United States nearly quintupled in the past year, fearing Havana and Washington will end Cuba's preferential migratory status after the restoration of their relations. Figures from the Pew Research Center have revealed that the entry of Cubans to the United States between October 2014 and June 2015 soared to more than 27,000 people, or about 78% compared to the same previous period. In Tapachula, in Mexico's southern state of Chiapas, Cuban migrants are following the steps of the Central American migrants who crossed the Chiapas River on rafts. Commissioner of the National Migration Institute, Ardil Vargas, said that a migratory memorandum signed between Cuba and Mexico in 2008 will be reviewed this week when the Cuban president, Raul Castro, makes his first visit to the country as president. And that's it for today's edition of Newsline. For any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email them to us at newsline.nbt@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook. Just simply type in NNT or check out our website at thainews.prd.go.th/en. We are going to say goodbye now with footage of a department store in Paris unveiling its Star Wars-themed Christmas decorations. I'm Tra Thirakalsan. Have a wonderful day. Sawasdee ka.